Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Friday, January 2nd, 2009. This morning I'd like to go through using a custom view and how to integrate a custom view into a standard VisualWorks user interface. To do that, we're going to look at one of the examples. We'll bring up the parcel manager, and as soon as we get that, we have to flip over to Directories View, get Examples, and then scroll down a couple times until you see Custom View Example. Let's go ahead and load that in. And once that's in, we're going to open a browser and see what we've got. So bringing that up into the view. We'll scroll down a bit, and here we have Custom View Example. Now here's our custom view. We've got a view, and it's got the ability to do things like display on, so it does a graphics thing. And we've got a controller, which has all the appropriate messages. I'm not going to go into the actual construction of the view in this example. This is a little out of context for this particular screencast. I'm just going to go into how it gets integrated into a standard VisualWorks interface. So assuming you've built your custom view and your controller that drives it, then you've got your custom view itself. So let's go to the class side, take a look at the window spec and edit that. And this will show you how to integrate one of these. So it's kind of like bringing in the subcanvas. Here's our custom view. You bring it in, it's this widget up here, the one that has a little car on it. You just drop it in, it looks like a subcanvas, but what you've got is you've got a view, so you give it the name of the view, which is just an instance variable. And that's pretty much all you need to do. So let's close this and take a look at the code that goes with that. In the initialize method, you've got to instantiate your new view. And then this is setting up ViewHolder dependencies to make sure that things happen with the view itself. I'm not going to get into that too much. And then you also need one other thing. I need to have this sketches method, a sketch view method rather, that returns that when it's asked for. And that's important because you remember over on the class side when I went into the user interface, I had the sketch view listed as the name. Well, whenever the construction code builds the user interface, this is what it's going to call. So we have initialize to instantiate it, and then we have this method down here to ask for it. And let's take a look at how that works. We'll go ahead and do a custom view example open. And now you see that it's come up, and not a terribly exciting user interface. We'll go ahead and put in a sketch called foo. I'll start drawing, and you can see now I can add another sketch called bar, and I can start drawing there, and then I can switch back and forth. So there's my custom view embedded into a standard VisualWorks interface. There's a little more work you'd have to do if you wanted to make this available on the standard palette. Again, a little out of scope for today's screencast, so I'm not going to do that. But the main point here is if you know how to build custom views with their controllers, and that's not a terribly difficult task if you know how to do this stuff, you can then integrate them cleanly into a VisualWorks user interface using the ViewHolder widget, because the ViewHolder widget will wrap around your custom view all of the necessary infrastructure to have it live inside an interface. That's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.